Hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the workshop so far. My name is Lowmanstone. I'm from the University of Minnesota, and I'm pleased to present to you our work, Annotation Imputation to Individualize Predictions. This was done in collaboration with Ruyuan, Risako Owan, Jaehyung Kim, and Dongyeop Kang. Our work focuses on missing opinions. I'm sure many of you are familiar with natural language processing data sets where we have sentences and users who annotate those sentences for a variety of tasks. However, we have a lot of sentences, and so not every annotator will annotate every single sentence. And so we're missing some of these opinions and perspectives in the data set. So, our main motivation behind this is to recover diverse opinions and enhance personalization. We want to be able to see when people will agree with each other, when they'll disagree, when they have opinions different from everybody else, and be able to make predictions that are accurate to them, enhancing their personalization. So in order to do this, we impute annotators' responses. We use a variety of methods to do this imputation, and we try to answer two research questions. First, how does imputation change the data set? And second, what can we do with imputed data? Again, imputation is just filling in the data set for every annotator and every sentence, trying to predict what they would have labeled that sentence. So our first finding is that imputation changes the underlying structure of the data set. Here in the figure on the left, you can see three different imputation models that we've tried: kernel matrix factorization, multitask, and neural collaborative filtering. And when we apply PCA to the user's annotation, so we have the user's annotations as a vector, you can see that each one results in a very different underlying structure shape, from a parabola to a sine wave curve sort of shape. We also find that imputation lowers disagreement in the data set. So here we have an example for the social chemistry data set, and we see that the disagreement rate and variance are both lowered when we impute the data and try to make predictions as to what people will label the data. In short, this means that the models that we're using tend to think that people agree more than they actually do in reality. We can see another example of this here, where we found that these methods also modify the soft labels of examples. So if you have a sentence and 52% of your population thought that the correct label for them was the third label. And once we did imputation, you might find that 73% of your population now thinks that that third label is the correct label. So we find that imputation modifies these soft labels and oftentimes does so in a way that increases agreement that doesn't reflect the actual data set. So what can we do with imputed data? Once we have imputed a data set and have predictions for each person in each sentence, what can we do with it? We do some training on this data, and we also do some prompting on this data, and I'll get into the details in the next few slides. So when we train on imputed data, we find it tends to make our individualized predictions worse. We took a multitask model from Devani et al.'s Dealing with Disagreements paper and trained it on both original and imputed data, two different versions of imputed data. And we found that the original performed comparably to the imputed data, and oftentimes better in multiple data sets. So this says that if you're trying to train in order to make individualized predictions, you're best off training on the original data, not on the imputed data. We also found that you can prompt ChatGPT with imputed data, and this oftentimes does not work. But one case where we found it did work was for low response rate annotators. ChatGPT can predict their annotations best when only imputed data is in the prompt. So we can include the original data or just the imputed data or both. And we found that just the imputed data, none of the real annotations from the data set allowed ChatGPT to make the most accurate predictions for individuals on an unseen sentence. So in summary, imputation changes the data set by changing that underlying structure from the PCA and user vectors. It also lowers disagreement and modifies soft labels. We can predict the annotations of low response rate annotators. And our ethics takeaway is that models should not be substitutes for humans. Thank you.